The penthouse windows of the apex tower framed Manhattan like a throne room of glass and steel. Snow drifted outside, muffling the distant sirens of New York. Inside, a billionaire in an immaculate tailored suit froze mid-sip, his espresso trembling in his hand. Before him, a thin boy with worn sneakers and a frayed backpack lifted his chin and said, without hesitation, "I speak 9 languages." Adrian Lathe, the Arab-American magnate who owned half the skyline, burst into a laugh so loud it echoed against the marble walls. 9? If that's true, kid, I'll give you a full scholarship to any school in this damn city. The boy didn't flinch. He simply answered, in flawless Arabic. And the billionaire's laughter died in his throat. If you love emotional and heartwarming stories, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell, so you'll always be the first to hear our next story. Let's begin. Adrian Lathe was having an excellent morning. The kind of morning only a man worth $1.2 billion could have. A private chef preparing Turkish coffee, stock tickers streaming victory across glass screens, and the panoramic view of Manhattan glittering beneath his feet from the 70th floor of the apex tower. He had invited no guests. So when his cleaning lady entered, hands trembling, eyes lowered, and behind her came a boy of barely 14, Adrian's irritation sparked instantly. "Ms. Rivera," he said sharply, "you know the rules. No family members during work hours." "I'm sorry, Mr. Lathe," Sophia Rivera murmured, gripping her cleaning cart. "My daughter got sick. I had no one to leave Ethan with today. He'll stay quiet, I prom." But it was too late. The boy had already attracted attention. Skin warm brown like coffee with cream, hair untidy from morning wind, and a backpack so old the fabric had peeled off the corners. Yet his eyes, dark, steady, unblinking, were what caught Adrian. Bold eyes. Eyes that didn't know how to bow. "Whatever," Adrian said with dismissive annoyance. "Just keep him out of trouble." But trouble had already started. A few minutes later, while the cleaning crew dusted bookshelves of rare manuscripts and waxed Italian marble flooring, the billionaire overheard something that made him choke on his espresso. "I speak 9 languages." It came from the boy. From Ethan. Adrian barked a laugh, deep and mocking. 9 languages? Kid, you barely speak English without stuttering. Sophia's face drained of all color. "Ethan," she whispered urgently, "por favor, apologize to Mr. Lathe." But Ethan didn't. His posture was rigid but respectful. His fingers tightened around his backpack strap. Adrian leaned back in his $16,000 leather chair and smirked. "Well," he taunted, "if you speak 9 languages, prove it." Behind the boy's calm expression, humiliation burned. But he lifted his chin. English, Spanish, French, German, Arabic, Mandarin, Russian, Italian, and Portuguese. Adrian blinked. Portuguese? That one caught him off guard, but not enough to soften him. "Impossible," he scoffed. Then he added cruelly, "If you really speak 9 languages, I'll pay you a full scholarship to any school in New York." Sophia gasped. "Mr. Lathe, that's not—" "Quiet," Adrian snapped. "Let the boy speak." Ethan inhaled once, deeply. Then he asked, "Mr. Lathe, do you speak Arabic?" Adrian stiffened. His pride swelled. "Of course I do. It's my family's tongue." Ethan's response came swift and flawless. "إذا أثبت أنني أتحدث الحقيقة، هل ستفي بوعدك?" He said in Arabic, "If I prove I'm telling the truth, will you keep your promise?" The air went still. Adrian recognized the sentence instantly. Not tourist-level Arabic. Not memorized phrases. This was classical Arabic, grammatically pristine, pronounced like someone raised by scholars. For the first time that morning, Adrian Lathe had no words. Sophia stared at her son with bewildered awe. "Ethan, where did you learn that?" The boy spoke gently. "At the Brooklyn Public Library, Mom. They have free language programs." Adrian's eyebrow twitched. Bullshit. He stood, circling the boy like a predator sizing up prey. Anyone can memorize a sentence. You're right, Ethan said, reaching into his backpack. That's why I brought this. He pulled out a folder. Adrian snatched it with annoyance, until he saw what it was. A certificate. No, several certificates. From Columbia University's Community Academic Outreach Program. From NYU Continuing Education. From official online testing institutions with authentication codes. Each one attesting fluency in every language he had mentioned. Adrian flipped the pages, searching desperately for signs of forgery. The stamps were real. The signatures were real. The test results were immaculate. The boy had passed exams usually taken by diplomats. You forged these, Adrian said weakly. Ethan pulled out his tablet. In seconds, a woman appeared on video call. Professor Lian Shen, Columbia University Department of East Asian Languages. Professor, could you verify my performance in your Mandarin course? Ethan asked, in perfect, fluid Mandarin. The woman's eyes lit up. Ah, Ethan. The prodigy. Of course. He was my top student in 15 years. Adrian ended the call so fast the tablet nearly slipped from Ethan's hands. Sophia covered her mouth, stunned. The boy had not lied. If anything, he had undersold himself. So, Adrian croaked, trying to regain his arrogance. Why learn 9 languages? Because the world ignores boys like me, Ethan replied softly. But when you speak someone's language, they stop seeing you as a nobody. The words landed like a blow to Adrian's chest. He had spent his whole life compensating for being treated as the Arab outsider when he arrived in the U.S. as a boy. But unlike Ethan, he had turned his pain into cruelty. Ethan continued. And because I heard you yesterday. Adrian froze. Heard me what? You were on a call with Middle Eastern investors, Ethan said. You mixed up istithmar with istismar. One means investment. The other means exploitation. Adrian paled. The investors had sounded confused, but he blamed the connection. That mistake almost cost you $50 million, Ethan added. How would you know? Adrian demanded. I specialize in commercial Arabic. Adrian stared. This kid, a child, was doing linguistic analysis at a professional level. But the morning was about to get worse. Much worse. Ethan reached into his backpack one last time and pulled out a small digital recorder. Adrian's blood went cold. Before I ask my real question, the boy said, I need to show you something. He pressed play. Adrian heard his own voice. People like these Hispanic workers are all the same, lazy, uneducated, always playing the victim. That's why I only hire white or Middle Eastern staff for real positions. Sophia gasped as if someone had struck her. Adrian's knees nearly buckled. Where did you get that? He stuttered. In the elevator last week, Ethan said. You were talking with your VP. You didn't notice me. That was a private conversation. You can't. In New York, Ethan interrupted calmly, a one-party recording is legal. And this documents discriminatory hiring practices. The Attorney General would be very interested. Adrian felt the world tilt. That recording could end him. End his company. End everything. What do you want? He whispered. Ethan stepped forward, not timidly, not arrogantly, but with the poise of someone who knew exactly what he was worth. You have 2 choices. Adrian swallowed hard. Choice 1, Ethan said, placing the recorder on the marble desk. You continue believing my mom and I are beneath you. And this recording goes to every journalist and civil rights lawyer in New York. Sophia trembled. Or, Ethan continued, you can prove you learned something today. What do you want? Adrian repeated, voice cracking. I want you to promote my mom to facilities supervisor with an annual salary of $78,000. Sophia shook her head frantically. Ethan, no. I want you to fund a scholarship program for kids from underserved neighborhoods. And I want a junior position here as a linguistic consultant. You're 14, Adrian protested weakly. And I speak 9 languages better than every adult in this building, Ethan replied without hesitation. I've already saved you millions. Sophia's eyes filled with tears, pride, fear, love all tangled into one. Adrian looked at her as though seeing her for the first time. Sophia, he whispered. You raised a genius. No, she said softly, straightening her back. I raised a man who knows his worth. Ethan placed a printed contract on the desk. I already drafted the terms. You have 5 minutes. Adrian stared at the papers. Everything was professional, legal, ironclad. The boy had planned every move. How do I know you won't leak the recording even if I sign? Adrian asked, voice barely audible. Because unlike you, Ethan said gently, looking him in the eyes, I believe people can change. Adrian exhaled shakily. And if I don't sign? Ethan checked his watch. The recording sends automatically in 3 minutes and 40 seconds. You're blackmailing me. I'm giving you justice, Ethan corrected. You built your success on a system that hurts people like us. I'm offering you a chance to fix it. Adrian turned toward the skyline, the city that had crowned him king. But today, a boy with a battered backpack had outsmarted him in every way. Slowly, with trembling hands, he signed. The moment the pen left the paper, the tension shattered. Sophia collapsed into tears, silent, relieved, overwhelmed. Ethan closed the folder carefully. Thank you, Mr. Lathe, he said politely. Adrian swallowed. Ethan, you understand this means your life changes forever? The boy nodded. It changes because I made it change. Not because someone handed it to me. For the first time, Adrian smiled weakly, not with arrogance, but humility. Ethan, he said, I want to ask you one thing. Yes, sir? Your question earlier. What could other kids like you achieve if they had the same opportunities as my children? Ethan met his gaze steadily. You really want to know the answer, Mr. Lathe? Yes. They would change the world. Adrian believed him. Because one of them already had.